What sort of work are you doing?
I'm at Manchester University.
Yes, I know that.
We've built a digital computer. Do you remember all my theorising about universal machines? Well, we have done it. We've made one. It's all thanks to our work at Bletchley.
How exciting. That must be so exciting.
And I'm using the computer to simulate the growth patterns of plants and animals.
Like the Fibonacci patterns in a fir cone. Do you remember me telling you about that?
Yes.
One summer's afternoon, and you thought you were in love with me.
I went to church with your mother. I cried all through the sermon.
You have not changed one bit. Do you know that?
It's kind of you to say so.
No, it's true.
Oh, it seems a long time since Bletchley.
Doesn't it?
Oh, a lifetime.
I wonder if your tea mug is still chained to the radiator.
No, I was told off about that.
Who am I?
Yeah, Dilly Knox.
Poor Mr. Knox. I went to see him when he was ill, near the end.
Oh, that was good of you.
Well, I was fond of him. He was so ill, they were saying prayers for him in the church. Mr. Knox was furious about it. Christianity is a 2,000-year-old swindle, he said. It makes you fear where there is nothing to fear, and hope when there's nothing to hope for.
Oh, no, he was a remarkable man.
I suppose you knew he was homosexual.
What?
Well, homosexually inclined, anyway. He was supposed to have had some sort of romance with Maynard Keynes.
Knox?
When he was young.
Are you sure?
Well, an uncle of mine was at school with him.
Good God.
Lytton Strachey, too, although that was at Cambridge, not Eton.
He was Lytton Strachey's lover.
Apparently. I thought you knew.
I hadn't the faintest idea. I mean, he never even dropped a hint.
Well, I don't think anybody paid much attention to it. Everything's so very different when you're at school or university.
Good God almighty.
I mean, it was a thing of the past. He was devoted to his wife.
Oh, yes, he told me. Well, that's what you do, isn't it? You have your fling when you're young, then you conform later. I should have married you. Yeah, well, this would never have happened. I should have played the game and stuck to the rules.
Why didn't you?
I couldn't.
Mr. Turing, sorry to keep you waiting. Everything's at sixes and sevens here today. My secretary's gone down with flu, and the temporary girl doesn't seem to know what she's doing. Do sit down.
Thank you.
It's good of you to come along at such short notice. Thank you very much.
Well, your letter was rather vague.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, well, official, but rather vague.
Well, it's just one of those things that's done better by meeting than by telephone. Basically, it's simply a question of keeping in touch.
How do you mean?
You're a brilliant man, Mr. Turing. Unique in many ways. There's no point in trying to deny it.
Well, no, I wasn't going to.
This country has always tended to take its brilliant men for granted. That's a mistake, a serious mistake. We can't afford to make mistakes like that.
Who are you? I have no idea who you are.
Oh, sorry. My name is Smith, John Smith. Nobody believes it. I have a dreadful time with hotel clerks. Anyway, the point is this. It would be foolish to pretend that your homosexuality hasn't created problems and certain anxieties.
For whom?
But providing we can discuss the situation reasonably, I feel sure that these anxieties can be reduced to a minimum.
What anxieties?
As I say, it's simply a question of keeping in touch.
You're talking about security problems.
I am. Thanks to Messrs. Burgess and McLean, the Americans are getting increasingly jumpy. They have, after all, given you access to some extremely sensitive information. There's a general feeling of unease.
About me?
Of course, we know that you're a man of the greatest integrity. Your essential loyalty has never been questioned.
But?
All things have to be considered.
Such as?
Can you say in all honesty that you would never, never under any circumstances, reveal something of the nature of your work to one of your lovers?
No, of course not.
No, you would, or no, you wouldn't?
No, I cannot say, in all honesty, that such a circumstance would never arise. Neither can you. Who could?
That being the case, one's attention is drawn to your choice of lover. You seem to have an unusually wide range of acquaintances.
Oh, you mean it would be all right if I went to bed with other mathematicians? Preferably from one of the older universities. Preferably with what the Americans call security clearance.
Yes, I'm sure that would make us a lot happier. Sorry, that was rather glib. But you must realize that your work for the intelligence service means that you're simply not free to behave as you might choose. You have had extremely unusual access to secret information. That carries with it a heavy, if not irksome, responsibility.
I am aware of that.
Yes, I'm sure you are. It may seem like interference. In fact, we're trying to be helpful.
How?
By preventing any further error of judgment.
Meaning what, exactly?
This young Norwegian, Kell, I think it would be unwise of him to visit you here.
How do you know about Kell?
Somebody told me.
Who?
I forget. Truly.
Am I being watched?
We can't afford to take any chances, Mr. Turing. I'm sure you appreciate that.
Well, if I'm that much of a danger, you should get somebody to push me under a bus.
Yes, you must forgive me. I do tend to exaggerate the problem. It is, as I say, simply a question of keeping in touch.
Precisely what does that mean?
We'd like to be told of any change of residence, any change in your working life, any trips abroad, that sort of thing. You planning to go abroad this year?
Yes, I'm going to Greece.
When?
May.
Whereabouts in Greece?
Corfu.
It's very nice there. You'll like it a lot. May is the perfect time to go.
I want you to know that I have no regrets about my involvement with the intelligence service. The work I did at Bletchley was very important to me.
Yes, I'm sure it was.
Yes, important! In a way you probably cannot understand. Look, let me try and explain something. In order to unravel the messages encoded by the Enigma machine, we had to make certain deductions. We had to deduce the position of the machine's rotors for each transmission. Now, in other words, we had to construct a chain of logical deductions for each of the rotor positions. Now, if this chain of deductions led you to a contradiction, that meant you were wrong. And you had to move on to the next rotor position and start all over again, and so on, and so on. And it was an impossibly lengthy and laborious task, and we didn't know what to do. And then suddenly, one spring afternoon, just after lunch, I remembered a conversation that I'd had with Wittgenstein. We were discussing an elementary theorem in mathematical logic which states that a contradiction implies any proposition. And I saw immediately, if we could build a machine that embodied this idea, we would have a code-breaking machine with the necessary speed. Now, it would have to be a machine of electrical relays and logical circuits which could sense contradictions, recognize consistencies. If your guess was wrong, electricity would flow through all the related hypotheses and knock them out in a flash. If your guess was right, everything would be consistent. And the electrical current would stop at the correct combination. Our machine will be able to examine thousands of millions of permutations at amazing speed. And with any luck, it would give us the way in.